What is up, guys, and welcome back to yet another video about the SP404-MK2. It just seems like there's so much stuff to talk about this particular device, and today I want to show you this feature which is actually relatively new to me. I haven't really used this much and then discovered it the other day, and I've realised that this is super handy for the way which I'm chopping samples at the moment. It allows me to know the tempo, and it's especially useful when I'm changing and time stretching those samples so that I can have a really good understanding of what sort of tempos I'm working at. So you'll see 90 on the screen a lot on an SP404-MK2, and that's because it's the default BPM that it will put onto a sample that's sampled into the unit. It doesn't matter what the BPM is, it will just say it's 90 BPM.
You lied.
And the problem that comes with this is, let's say for example, I've recorded something in, and I like chopping my samples and time stretching them, so I'm on ensemble mode here, and you can see I'm at 100% speed, and even if this sample isn't 90 BPM, which it probably isn't, it could be, but it probably isn't, it's telling me that the BPM is 90. So if I go ahead and change the speed now, and the mode that I'm in will preserve the pitch, but it will change the speed of the sample, so it will time stretch it. If we bring this down, you can see that it's starting to tell me the BPM is 61.2 at 68% of the speed. All that information is completely incorrect and irrelevant to me, and this has become a particular problem for me when I'm working with samples. So what's the fix for this? How can we go ahead and fix this? Well, it's inside one of the options here. This is the way I've been doing it. If you go to Shift and External Source, you can actually see underneath it says IMP set. That's what it says on my SPVids custom skin here, which is basically import settings. So if we do Shift and External Source, we get presented with this menu on the screen. So we've got Record BPM. You can see here is set to 90 BPM, that's the default. We've got mixing information and the level as well, and input effects. We're going to ignore all that for now and just want to concentrate on this Record BPM. So you can see here, yeah, it's set to 90 BPM. So it's just going to slap on 90 BPM and say that's what the BPM is. Obviously, most of the cases that's going to be incorrect. So what I've started doing, and I've got a sample here which I'm going to import, but before I import it, I'm going to use tap tempo because I don't know the tempo of this one. If you know the tempo, obviously you can just set it and go ahead and record it. But if you don't know the tempo, this is where it comes in really useful. So I'm going to go to tap tempo. And what I'm going to do is just monitor this sample through the SP. I'm not going to record it quite yet. And I'm inside tap tempo. And what I'm going to do is tap along as soon as I start hearing this sample. Okay, so that was the sample. You can see it seems to be coming out at 80 BPM, which I imagine is pretty much correct. It's a nice round number, so I think we're onto something there. So if we go to Shift and Import Settings now, or Shift and Input Settings, sorry, I think I've said Import there. We'll change this to 80 BPM. There we go, it's a little bit sensitive, but we've got there. And then we can go to D here, do Record. 1, and I've got it set to wait here just because it makes it a lot easier to get the start point right. Okay, so we've got that in. You can see here on the screen it's saying 80. And now if I go to the pitch and speed area, which is here, you can see here now that this matches up correctly because it's saying 100% of the speed of the sample is 80 BPM, and because of the tap tempo that we've done, we know that that is definitely the case. So I'm going to go to Shift and I'm going to go to Ensemble, which is my favorite way for time stretching samples at the moment. It's not perfect, you know, the Mark II, it's not a perfect device, but I kind of like the kind of character it puts on samples actually. So we could pitch it up a little bit. Or maybe down.
Nice.
Let's say we want it down like that. That's still at 80 BPM at the moment, which is great. So let's say we go to edit the speed. Let's say, you know, I'm feeling a bit energetic today. I want something a little bit faster, a little bit more in a kind of boom bappy hip hop area. So that's sort of around 85, maybe 88 to 90 BPM. I can turn this dial now, and you can see it's going to actually show me what tempo this is putting it at. So I've ended up going to 113.8. That gave me a nice round number of 91. And I might not necessarily end up making a beat at this tempo, but this is just for demonstration purposes. So we can see now here that the speed is saying 113.8% of the original speed of the sample, and that is going to be 91 BPM, and we know that that will be 91 BPM. If we just recorded it in at the wrong BPM and it just defaulted it to 90, when you start playing around with this dial, the numbers just don't make any sense whatsoever. So now that I've got this sample, because of the way I chop this up, and we talked about this in my previous video, I kind of chop on the beat and put that over 16 pads or however many pads it'll fill. Usually I want to fill 16 pads. I know that I can go straight into the pattern editor, set my BPM to 91 BPM, and that's going to kind of work along with it. So that's why I've ended up using this so much, because that's the way I'm chopping samples and using samples at the moment. This just really does change the game for me, because I know that I'm working at the BPMs that I want to be working at with this particular sample. So I don't know if you'll be aware of that one, guys. I've only become aware of that very, very recently. And like I said earlier in the video, this has just become very, very useful for my workflow. I would probably say it's become essential, to be honest. I really like to know what tempo I'm working in, especially because I'm going to be going to the pattern mode and sketching out ideas in the pattern mode. So it really has been a bit of a game changer for me. This skin, which is actually on my SP here, is available on spvids.com. If you want to support what I do, you can pick that up. There's also drum packs, merch, all that kind of stuff that keeps me doing what I'm doing here, guys. So I'd really appreciate it if you could check out the links in the description below, and I can keep making videos like this that teach you stuff about the Mark II. Thanks very much for watching. If you're new around here, don't forget to smash subscribe. Hit a like if you like this feature. Let me know in the comments below, do you already use this, or is this something that's new to you? Will you find it useful? Will you be integrating this into your workflows? I'd love to know. Take it easy, and I'll see you all again in another video very soon.